All right, guys, we're back on Southeastern 16. Chase Robinson joins to talk about Arkansas and Arkansas State. Our friends over at FanDuel, our new title sponsor here at Southeastern 16. Arkansas, 22.5-point favorites in this game. Remember, this is taking place in Little Rock, and this is a game also set for 4 p.m. Central Time at War Memorial Stadium there in Little Rock. And the over-under 60. Actually, I told Chase a lie before we started recording. I said, Chase, this number's at 62.5. You know what? It's at 63.5 now. So
Wow.
that over-under going up a little bit here, Chase, between these two. May see some points on the board there between these two in-state foes.
Yeah, I mean, this is, and they liked, Arkansas likes to get a game in Little Rock in. And so they're doing that this week. And yeah, I'm interested to see Arkansas just, there's been a lot of talk in the offseason. What can Taylen Green bring? And, how is this season going to help him in April when it comes to the NFL draft? And he's another year in Bobby Petrino's offense. I'm really interested to see, what Arkansas can do against Arkansas State here. And yeah, again, a in-state rivalry. I think Arkansas has a chance to go out and be aggressive in this game and to get a good win to kind of help propel them into the rest of the season. But I think I'm really watching Arkansas offensively, and I will break them down in a minute in this game on Saturday.
Yeah, and you talk about being aggressive. I mean, they got off to a great start there, as we know, in game one, 52-7. I know 10-7 after the end of the first quarter. I think we were even bringing it up as we were doing a live stream. We're like, hold on a second, not so fast, my friends. To quote Lee Corso, this thing may be more interesting than we thought. Not the case. Arkansas winds up rolling in that one, 552 total yards in that one. And yeah, I mean, Taylen Green's stat line, he will take any day of the week. 24 of 31 for 6 touchdowns, 322 yards through the air. And so, yeah, I mean, again, not a huge surprise in terms of Arkansas just going out and completely taking care of their business. Had a lot of big plays in that game. What they have 5 different guys catch a touchdown pass
Yeah.
in that one. And so, but again, it's a different opponent. It's kind of the way it should have been for Arkansas in that game. And I think, that's where, as you're looking ahead here, as we say, in games like this where you have a decent spread here, I mean, 22.5, that's a 3 touchdown plus type spread in this one. You're really looking at the SEC team that we are previewing and saying, all right, what do we want to see the most for them? And I think that's where, when you look at the matchup against Arkansas State, they beat SEMO 42-24. Remember, Butch Jones still there as the head coach. I think it's his 5th season now. I could be wrong on that. But
He's
so
been
Butch
there a
Jones
while.
is,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's hard to believe, and that's why I was like, 5th, is that right? But yeah, I mean, he's been there a little bit. So, and so I think when you look at it from that perspective, they seem to be a program that's trying to kind of keep that momentum going. We know he's been able to build a little bit that there, and you look at some of the personnel for Arkansas State. Jaylen Raynor had a huge game, 26 of 32, 345 yards, 3 touchdowns. Corey Rucker returns. He's a 1,000-yard wide receiver, had a 50-yard catch against SEMO. They were picked 6th by Phil Steele in the West Division of the Sun Belt. So that's a little bit on the lower side in terms of maybe expectations. They're trying to revamp their defense a bit, allowed 32.2 points per game last season. So you take all that, Chase, and like we said, I think if you're trying to tilt this towards Arkansas, it probably goes back to some of the stuff we maybe were saying, all right, this is what we want to see from Arkansas coming into the season, some of those particular areas for them. So for you, what does stand out when it comes to this matchup against Arkansas State?
Well, I think the fact that Arkansas has plenty of guys who can catch the football is something big for them, especially when you have Taylen Green, who can throw the ball and has been pretty accurate from what we saw last year. So they've got a lot of guys. You mentioned the 6 guys who caught touchdown passes. That really stands out to me because the run game was not, I mean, they did what they had to do, 194 yards rushing for Arkansas Saturday. They didn't score a rushing touchdown. Mike Washington, 9 carries, 79 yards, had a 30-yard run. And they had some other guys who ran the ball well, and they utilized a lot of different running backs. But again, they only had 194 yards. And so using this game to kind of still help identify who that workhorse is going to be, running the football. You got Washington. Well, who's behind him? And I know Taylen Green runs a good bit as well as a dual threat guy, but kind of solidifying this running back room and how it's going to work for Arkansas this year, I think is something that they can look to do in this game. And again, they really didn't have to run the ball a lot against A&M because they were having so much, effect in the air.
Yeah.
And so I think really honing in this week on the run game, who are going to be your go-to guys running the football. And again, if you're Arkansas, you don't want to look past this game or look ahead. But you've got a game coming up very soon against a very good Ole Miss team that you want to be at your best. And I think kind of finding your go-to guys is what you need to do in this game, because you look at the schedule coming up for Arkansas. Ole Miss, Memphis, and Notre Dame are the three games, in Tennessee are the three games coming up after this matchup with Arkansas State. So to me, it's honing in on a lot of these smaller things. Finding your guys is what, to me, needs to be a big focus on Saturday against Arkansas State.
Well, Sam Pittman and some of these comments from Connor Goodson over at Hog Sports at 24/7 Sports, seemed pleased with the offense, and that's not a surprise, right? He talked about sort of Taylen Green and how he played and thought, he did a lot of good things, and also mentioned, hey, he did get sacked twice, but that he sort of wasn't on the offensive line, just had sort of a, I think he called it a mental error in the backfield on one of those. And so just kind of a, coverage sack and all that. So he, again, which how could you not be pleased, was sort of what they did offensively. But on the other side of the ball, he did make it very clear that there are some things that he thought could be better. And, he sort of talked about specifically, quote, I'll give you the quote. He said, quote, "We have to have more production out of our linebackers. We need to play better there. We need to play better on the D line. We didn't have the production we need there. After the first drive, I thought our secondary settled in. We had 6 missed assignments there early on the first drive, and then we cut a tight end loose on the second drive, and that was from the linebacker position as well. So we've got to get those things cleaned up, which they did during the game. And again, he sort of brings up the production that they want more from the defensive line. I think one of the quotes, too, we're not playing downhill. And so I think that is probably, one of the things to watch for if you're an Arkansas fan based on those comments from Sam Pittman here, is just seeing maybe how the defense comes out and is able to sort of establish, their identity early in a game like this. Like we said, I mean, you can look on the side for Arkansas State, and there are some guys who can make some plays. And so I'm kind of curious to see kind of what that matchup looks like. Because remember, too, Chase, like we always say this in these kind of games, right? It's when you have an SEC team who is a sizable favorite against a team that is not a power conference team, I feel like one of the areas we always turn to is the line of scrimmage, where it's like,
Yep.
Even if there are some things that the SEC team doesn't do well, even if there are some things that they're not perfect in, at the end of the day, the thing that's probably going to win the game is simply your play up front, both on the offensive line and the defensive line, and how you wear down a team over a span of 60 minutes. And I feel like that's clearly something, especially on that defensive front, that Sam Pittman's looking for in this game.
No, most certainly. And you look, and when you coming into the year, like the offense is the stronger side of the ball for Arkansas. Last year they had trouble stopping people. There's no way around that. I mean, you look at the stats, you look at the numbers, you look at the game, like they struggle defensively at times. And so they've got to hone in on a lot of these things too, because I mentioned the games they have coming up are against some good offensive teams. And so this is, a big game for them to work on some things defensively, but they've got to be better defensively all the way around this year for Arkansas to win games, to be successful, to keep things kind of going in a positive direction. They've got to be better defensively. And again, we'll learn some about that this week, but we'll learn a lot more moving forward, especially with some of these high-powered offenses that are going to be rolling in.
Yep. We'll talk about it and make our picks here shortly for how we see things unfolding. But as always, let's quickly tell you about the people who support our channel, which is GameTime Sidekicks, officially licensed stainless steel drinkware. All the SEC schools are there. Arkansas fans, get in on that. Plus, over 350 more universities. I'm going to assume they got some Arkansas State stuff over there as well. If you guys are watching, everything from stainless steel sippy cups, tumblers, 40-ounce bottles, and shaker cups. If you want a 20% discount, 20% SE16 over there, SE16, 20% discount, GameTimeSidekicks.com. Find all the info in the description below. Also, ROKFORM, ROKFORM.com. The world's strongest magnetic phone case, extreme protection, super strong magnets, rock lock, secure mounting. They've got all kinds of fun stuff over there with, again, the phone cases, the phone case accessories. They got golf stuff. Check it all out. SEC25 for 25% off. SEC25 over at rockform.com. And our new sponsor, Hovey Dry Goods, your new favorite hat. Look no further than Hovey hats for high-quality headwear with a great fit and unique designs. You can find some Arkansas stuff over there. It looks pretty good, if you ask me. Promo code coming soon as well over at Hovey Dry Goods. All right, Chase, our picks for Arkansas and Arkansas State, as I said earlier, 22.5 is the number, over under 62.5 between this one.
I think Arkansas goes out and scores a lot. I think they have the potential to do that. I think Taylen Green, we learned last week, he's got some guys he likes to go to a receiver. I think he goes back there. I think they're able to put up a lot of points. I do think Arkansas State scores as well, though, because, again, we've really got to learn about this Arkansas defense. I do think Arkansas wins the game on Saturday. It may be close for a little bit, but I do think Arkansas pulls away and gets a nice win in this one.
Yeah, and just to quickly turn it back to Arkansas State for a second, as we said, if you're an Arkansas fan, you want information, we're going to give it to you. They were picked third in the Sun Belt in the preseason coaches poll. I mentioned Phil's still a little bit more down on them, seemingly picking them sixth in that one. They did get a first-place vote on that. So 3 all Sun Belt selections coming back from 2024. Had 6 players named to the 2025 preseason all Sun Belt teams as well. And like we said, last year, they were 8-5, best finish since 2019. So it's a program with some momentum. We talked about, getting off to a nice start there. And so it is a team, I think, that certainly has some pieces. And this is why, right, you're not seeing a 35.5 point spread. It's a 22.5 point spread in this one. And going to pick Arkansas to win. But like I said, I think I want to see, just as Sam Pittman talked about, I'm curious to see how the coaching staff approaches it from a defensive standpoint here. I think Arkansas will score some points with Taylen Green and company, but I'm kind of more having my focus and attention on what Arkansas does defensively to try to take advantage again and get the win here in this matchup in Little Rock. But we appreciate you guys watching as always. Give us your predictions in the comments. Give us your score predictions. What do you think is going to be between Arkansas and Arkansas State? Turn on your notifications. We go live on Saturday talking about this game and all the others in the SEC. Hit subscribe, hit the like button as well. As we said, check out our friends over at FanDuel. Same game parlays. They got team props. They got futures, all sorts of stuff. Get in on the action for all these games in SEC football in week 2. And we appreciate you guys watching as always. And we'll talk to you again soon at Southeastern 16.